Egghead Frankie would like to humbly ask you to subscribe, as well as me, Merch Hunter Ricky. If you really don't mind, I would really appreciate it. Now let's start the video. So One Piece 1147 is a pretty crazy chapter, honestly, and I liked it a lot, but I want to focus in on Brook and GUNKO. I almost said Brunko. Honestly, they might have a relationship going on here, but you know, on GUNKO's side of it, she likes Brook's music and she wants to make him her slave. But Brook noticed something about her in the latest chapter where he's like, there's something about that woman, but I can't put my finger on it, I guess. You know, maybe it's just my imagination is what he says. I'll put the panel up. This is kind of crazy because then after Brook yells at her, like GUNKO like grips her heart and all that. And you know, I know a lot of people have made a video on this, is always my disclaimer, but I want to talk about it too, damn it. I think there's something more here. I don't think that it's like a familial connection or that she was related to Yorkie or Yorkie's lover or Brook's ex-lover. I think that she's a fangirl from a concert that happened over the 2-year time skip. Whether or not GUNKO was a holy knight at the time remains to be seen, but I do think there's some credence to GUNKO being a fan that just was wild for Brook, and she demanded this and demanded that. If she was a holy knight at the time, it would make a lot more sense. But if she wasn't a holy knight and maybe she had this kind of like cocky air about her, that would also be pretty cool. I know I'm wearing like a hoodie right now, but I'm sweating bullets. So if you see me just doing this really quick, that's all it is. I think that Brook having a connection to GUNKO is interesting since he already recognized her as a holy knight. So the connection to her, I don't think can be as a holy knight unless he already like saw her as a holy knight prior, which I guess could be a thing. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Me personally, I just think that GUNKO is a fan of Brook's that he ran into in the past during the 2-year time skip, and she was particularly rowdy. I think that she caused some problems for him. Maybe she contacted the world government, or maybe she's oddly enough how he knows the Holy Knights. Maybe he saw her in her Holy Knight regala and she was at one of the concerts and they were like demanding we see Brook, and you know, they didn't want to flex and Brook was able to escape. You know, something like that. Also going further into the chapter, another thing I want to highlight is who is going to fight who, right? So the monster trio, is Sanji, is he going to fight Sommers or is he going to fight Killingham? Personally, I think for GUNKO, I hope that Luffy meets her first, and I don't know if he's going to fight her first, but you know, I just want Luffy to see GUNKO holding up all the Straw Hats. Personally, I want Zoro to fight Sommers. I just think that since he's a thorn man and all that, spikes and blades and whatnot, it would be good to fight Zoro. For Killingham, that's interesting. Since he's already in Awakened Zone, we would peg him to go to fight Luffy, right? And then for Sanji, I guess he could fight GUNKO, but he can't because he doesn't hit women, right? So Sanji has to fight Killingham or Sommers, which means Luffy and Zoro have to take on GUNKO, one or the other. But that doesn't just mean that GUNKO is going to fight only the monster trio, because we have Robin and Chopper in the mix too. And I feel like Chopper will gladly punch a woman. He punched Miss Merry Christmas, right? So I don't think there's going to be a problem there. So my official matchups, I think it'll be, and we have Gaban too. So Gaban, Robin, and Chopper versus Sommers. Then when the monster trio comes up, maybe with Loki and the new giant warrior pirates, they might get in a mix with GUNKO or they might get in a mix with Killingham. Now Killingham has all of his monsters about, right? So we have to fight the monsters or we have to knock Killingham out, I assume. But not all devil fruits work that way. So like, just because one devil fruit user gets KO'd, they don't have the sugar effect where their powers just stop working, right? That's not how all of them work. You know, Luffy gets KO'd, but he can still be stretched, you know? So who knows? Also, how is Sommers riding thorns? Did Killingham turn his thorns into a living beast, or is that some sort of, like, it's just shaped that way and he's actually just controlling it, making it a pseudo effect, making it look like it's alive and it's really not? That's another good question, because I want to know what type of Paramecia awakening that would be, because his power already works ridiculously. He has that like see-through thorn power that if you touch the kid you get messed up. I want to know so much more about Sommers' powers. For Killingham, I could see the Straw Hats getting freed and like a bunch of them taking on Killingham, because he's probably just going to start summoning a bunch of his monsters. Although a lot of them are just roaming Elbaf currently, maybe he can't bring them back to him at the time. And I don't know if he can manifest things that are not part of him, right? So he has to make someone fall asleep. And can he force people to fall asleep? We saw that he afflicted Anji with, or Ange or whatever, with sleep paralysis. That's also kind of, sorry, it's hot in here. It's kind of freaky, right? To have the sleep paralysis thing, because that would be very bad for someone like Luffy, who's just like prone to being lazy, and I don't think he would get out of that very easily, right? Maybe Usopp would get affected by sleep paralysis really easy. I could see him doing that to Brook, and Brook using his ghost form to counteract with the dream stuff. I could see Brook using his sleep form to counteract Killingham's dream stuff if Killingham were to put Brook into sleep paralysis. But all in all, I genuinely think that it'll be Robin, Chopper, and Gaban versus Sommers. That's a good little trio versus Sommers. Then we would split up everyone else, right? So maybe Zoro and Sanji versus Killingham. Maybe Luffy is gonna fight GUNKO because GUNKO has a weird amorphous paramecia that would require more attention from Luffy than other people. He could use his wacky cartoon powers to counteract her like directional powers. You know? Does that make sense? Because what I'm thinking is he would use that more so to like make it so that he doesn't have to obey her rules, I guess, because Toon Force, that's my guess. All right, I'm here at the end of the day. As you saw earlier in the video, I was hot as hell, and I waited, I did all my day chores, hung out with the family. Now I'm just gonna do some closing thoughts on the video. First, if you don't mind dropping a like, subscribe, or a comment down below if you made it this far into the video, it really helps push the video and the channel out further. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, let me take my glasses off. So, to close out the video, basically I just want to drop a couple more ideas. This is more of a chapter highlight video. It's not going to be very long. I don't want it to be over 10 minutes long. And basically, other than the matchups potentially happening for the Monster Trio and the rest of the Straw Hats, I personally want to see Nami and Usopp get just a little bit of shine. In all the other arcs, other people have gotten shine. I know a lot of people didn't really like Chopper's shine in Wano, but what he did is what his job is, right? So he is a doctor, so he did doctor stuff. It's not the coolest, and it's not necessarily what we want from Chopper anymore, but remember, he did fight Queen, so let's give him his flowers and move on. Now, personally, I would really, and I mean really, want to see Nami and Usopp do something monumental this chapter. Maybe they take out a Holy Knight by themselves, the weakling duo, because I don't really consider Chopper a weakling any longer, right? And then, remember the Protect Robin moment in Egghead? That's like one of my favorite moments right now of all of One Piece. I mean, they soloed a Gorosei as a group, and I do mean solo as a group because these are people who don't have haki, they don't have devil fruit powers other than Chopper, and they're not broken like Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro, right? Even Jinbei. And I really like the showing they had against Saturn. I really hope we see something like that against Sommers, GUNKO, or Killingham. To close out the final highlight of the chapter, I really liked the children when they were shown, all of them getting kidnapped, and like we got to see their names and their introductions and all that. I think it's very important that we feel a connection to the children now, even if it's just their names. Obviously, we have a connection to Colin, and then a little bit to, I think her name's Yilda or Yvilda. I don't remember her name properly, but the granddaughter of Jarul, sorry. It's important that we feel this connection because these kids might actually get kidnapped, and we don't want that, right? At least I don't. And I know a lot of people, you know, even Nami wouldn't want that to happen. Nobody wants these kids to go off of Elbaf. So genuinely, if they leave Elbaf, this is a straight up fail for the Straw Hats and the Giant Warrior Pirates and New Giant Warrior Pirates. Now, however, Loki factors into this final idea, which is the kids of Elbaf fear him and the people of Elbaf fear him. But do the people, like the Holy Knights, they came here to conscript Loki, right? Why is that? He must have an unusual strength about him. And Loki might be the factor. I guarantee you, wholeheartedly, Loki can take out a Holy Knight by himself. And that's pretty much the final thought of the video. Let me know what you thought down below. I really appreciate any help you want to give the channel. A comment, a like, a subscribe. almost to 700. I think I'm at 699 right now. I don't want to jinx it because sometimes people, they unsubscribe for whatever reason. I've worked very hard to get here, and now I have a computer and stuff, and I bought it last year and just never really got around to using it. I just use it for YouTube, and it's just kind of embarrassing. So I need to really kick the channel into high gear, and I plan to do so within the next couple days and weeks to just keep the channel going further and stronger. So I really appreciate any help you would give me. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Also, relevant links in the bio. Discord is down there too if you want to discuss further. And thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Go out and read some One Piece.